I wanted to make this video on the topic of not running away from yourself. Also, hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while, but I figured that I would jump back in. I've been on TikTok for quite a while. For those of you who know, it's a long story how I got on TikTok instead of here, but I'm back here, and part of the reason I'm making this video is because I feel like it relates to all that. So I hope you enjoy this one, and I will make probably another video eventually explaining more of my absence on here, but I really missed YouTube, and so I'm glad to be back. I still might post some content on TikTok, but yeah, I like my long form content. So anyways, in regards to the idea of not running away from yourself, the biggest thing that a lot of us do in our lives is that when we have big goals, big visions for ourselves, a lot of the time we want to run full force into them. We want to just take it head on and go for it. And a lot of what can happen when we run straight ahead in life without ever taking pause, which a lot of us do. You know, we hear all the time in life that life is hard. You have to, go through these challenges in life. You just got to fight through them, just work through them. You'll get there eventually. Like, just keep trying. But the one thing is with that is that if you have deep set patterns within yourself, if you have deep set beliefs from your childhood, from years and years ago, like even before you were born, because this is the thing, those memories that even your family members hold, they can exist within you. They are passed on to you in life. Those things, even if you don't know that they're there, they're kind of like these low frequencies, like these low hums inside of you that still exist, and you don't always know what they are or why you're upset sometimes, why certain things set you off. It's because of these hidden beliefs inside of you, and this is what a lot of us call the subconscious. And in a lot of manifestation too, we believe that we have to convince our subconscious mind to manifest the things that we want in life, right? And the thing with that is that you're essentially trying to convince every past version of yourself of your dream. You're trying to convince them of your dream so that they will be on your side when it comes to your goals. So the more versions of yourself, the more of your past self that you have on your side, the easier it will be to build your vision, and the more energy that you have for yourself. Because the more energy you release, think of it like energy trapped in these little boxes from all the past negative beliefs that you've ever had. And that's where your energy is being held, almost like it's in these little prison cells and it can't get out of them. And so if you start to release them, then now instead of those energies working against you, calling out to you in your mind all the time, looking for your attention, constantly berating you, like if you start to allow them to come up and kind of like work through them, and this process happens naturally, by the way, like this will happen on its own. They will want to come to the surface. They'll want to scream, argue, say everything that you're doing wrong if you start doing something that's outside of their rules. If you start doing something outside of their rules, they'll want to basically knock you back down to what they know to be right, because they're not doing anything wrong. They're just policing you based on what they've been taught. They're like these little, you could almost say like AI versions of yourself. Like they just know what they've been taught, and so they're just working off of that. And so at some point, you have to allow these versions to basically come up, release the energy they want to release, and do it without judgment of yourself. And I know that's easier said than done, but that is the biggest thing that we have to do, is we have to start to let these pieces of ourselves rise to the surface. And again, if you have a big dream, if you have a big vision, and you continue to press on with those goals, if you don't stop believing, I know, very generic here, if you don't stop believing in your vision and you keep going towards it nonstop, like you never give up, even if that means just moving forward in your life with that little tiny voice in the back of your head, like you still sort of believe in it, if you just keep doing that, these things will continue to start to rise to the surface, these old beliefs, right? Because basically what happens is that the energy required to build your vision will be the amount of energy that needs to be released from your past versions of yourself. Anything that's a limitation to what you want to be your future has to be released so that you have the amount of fuel, the amount of energy to build that dream that you want, right? So you have to become a big enough energetic being to hold this vision that you're imagining. Think of it like a wave. So you have the top part of the wave, right? It's like a mountain, but then you also got the bottom part of the wave that has to balance it out to create a perfect circle, which is your completion of your cycle of your vision. So if you want this mountain vision, then you kind of have to go down and get the energy required to create this vision, especially if it's something that is beyond the current level of, energy that you've always been able to hold. Like if your family's always had a certain kind of income level, your friends around you too, like if there's only a certain level that they've ever expanded to, then, and you want to do something way beyond that, like that's going to take some releasing of old patterns, right? So a lot of people think like healing and in past stuff, like releasing past things, like isn't necessary. And I used to think that way too a lot of the time. But honestly, the hard part about it is that if you try to move forward in your life and just like, rush forward, kind of like we all do in life. Again, this is why people experience burnout, because they end up too fiery. They have no more energy to put towards their thing, because essentially the energy that it is like this watery energy. You can think of it like water, but then when you have no water left for your vision, it's like you have this well of water, and when you've used it all up, then all you have left is this fire, and you burn yourself out, and you feel tired, you feel exhausted, your mind is going nonstop, thinking about all the ways that you're doing things wrong. Why isn't this working? Because your mind will try and try and try to keep pushing forward, but it's hit a wall. It's literally hit itself. It can't go any further without building up more energy. It needs more expansion to basically break down this wall that's in its way, because essentially you have to become bigger than the block. You have to become bigger than this wall that's been there all of your life. And for many of us, this is a pretty darn tall wall, right? So you have to become basically bigger than all of the fears and doubts that are holding you back, all of the limitations. And in doing this, the thing that I will say is that once your mind can't go any further, then it's kind of like the body takes over. That's when it's the body's job. And that's when you have to learn to rest. And I know that's the hardest thing for people, but when you experience burnout, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You need to rest. And your mind will tell you, but I need to work. I need to make money. I need to do this. I need to do that. And like, the thing is, if you need to work a bit, still work. But I promise you, the rest is way, way, way more important than any work you could do. Because the thing is, if you want to hold more money, if you want to hold more energy in any way, you have to rest. You have to let it build up in you again. And when you rest, it gives your body time, like I've said before, to integrate. It gives your body time to integrate all of these things that you want in your life. Because it basically, what happens is once you sit and you just stay where you are, now it's almost like you've decided, okay, this is where I am. I can't go any further. And then at that point, all of your fears, doubts, all these sort of things, they're going to start to arise in you, because all this time, your whole life, you've been running. You've been running from all this stuff behind you so it doesn't catch up with you. But when you stop in life, it finally catches you. And at that point, you have to face it. So it's either you face it or you let it overtake you, basically. And so if you face it head on, right? And you go through it. And this means like messy. This means not perfect, just releasing your emotions, yelling things out, crying things out, because this will come up on its own. You'll be forced basically to release this stuff. It might be a dark time in your life, but if you go through it, like there will be another side to this, and you will basically free yourself from chains that you've been in your entire life without even realizing it, because most of the time we're too busy running on the surface of the water. And then when we finally slow down and sink into the water, we realize how much stuff has just been stuck under there that we've been just avoiding, pretending like it doesn't exist. And some people may think, well, then why don't you just keep running and go your whole life without ever having to deal with it? But the thing is, if you do that, you're going to be dragging around that dead weight your entire life. Your entire life, you will never be able to expand beyond a certain point because you have that weight. And that weight is only going to grow larger with time because you have certain limiting beliefs that are there. And then those limiting beliefs will have new ones compound on top of it, on top of that, on top of that. And so this is why it's important to go through these phases of rest and integration, like regularly, not just like, once in your entire lifetime, though if you go through it enough in your lifetime at one point, that might be enough. Honestly, if you release enough and you get to the point where you're so trusting in yourself and believing in yourself, you might never actually even get back to that point of all those limiting beliefs ever again. And that's the beautiful part. Once you do this, once you break all these old chains, you might never have to deal with them ever again. It's not just like, you put it away for a little bit and it comes back later. They are gone. And what I mean by this is that for me, for example, I have no more voices that are like yelling out for me in my head like they used to. It's quiet. Like my mind is quiet. It's calm. And it's really beautiful when your mind is quiet, when you don't have something screaming at you, because those things that are yelling for you are yelling for help. They're yelling because they want to be acknowledged. They want to be seen. They are basically lost dreams and pieces of yourself that are confused because they were cut off and they don't know anything anymore. They don't know anything other than where they were left in your life. And so that's why it's important to allow them to merge back into you, allow them to grieve, because it's them that are grieving through you. Those versions of you are grieving through you. They're angry through you. So when they come up, they're not going to be happy. They're going to be angry, sad, because basically there's something that didn't work out for them. There's something you didn't do, you didn't complete, and that's why they're there in your mind, or you're going against some rule of theirs. And so they have to like be angry, they have to be sad and release their energy so that they can return to you again. It's basically like, think of like water in a cup returning to the ocean, or something like that. That's probably the best way I could put it. But if you do this for them, the most beautiful thing happens. Those beings that were once against you, because you finally heard them out, because you were there for them, someone finally saw them. Like imagine yourself standing in the dark for so long, alone, lost, wondering where to go. Nobody's there for you. And all of a sudden it's like out of the darkness, this light shines on you after years and years, and maybe like centuries. Like think of it like family members' past beliefs that were never acknowledged, and you're down there in the darkness shining a light on them. Like they're going to be grateful to you for doing that, for saving them. You literally are like Jesus in the Bible that's talked about. You're saving them and bringing them back. And so now they want to be your follower. They want to work on your side. And so that's energy that's working for you, not because you're forcing it to, but because it wants to. Because most of the time in life, we've learned to force ourselves to do things, force, beliefs on things. And this process of force is so harsh. Like, it's not how it was meant to be. We were meant to be kind to ourselves and to these other versions of us. Like, they are still beings. And like when we just scream at them and get so angry at them, like, obviously you'd be upset too. Like you'd be upset too if someone just like took your dream from you and never came back and left you in the dark, right? So that's why they are thankful for the person that does acknowledge them. And again, the more you save, the more pieces of yourself that you save, the more pieces of your whole family history. This can even include parts of other people too. The more you help, like the more that they want to serve you. So when you serve others, they serve you. And a similar thing is said in the Bible as well. So that is why it is important to heal yourself, all the pieces of you, and not to ignore these voices shutting out in your head. And also to trust that this process will happen naturally if you keep your idea of your vision in mind. If you keep it in mind, it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying affirming 24/7. I'm not saying anything like that. Like I'm saying just this feeling inside of you, this little tiny spark of like, this is the life I'm envisioning for myself, and always still holding on to that vision and not giving up on it. Like that is what I mean. If you continue to move towards the thing you want, even if it's just getting up the next day and just taking like one step, or even just breathing that day, but you still have your goal in mind, like no matter how hard life gets. That's what I mean. And these things will come up for you naturally, and you will get through it, and you will see that on the other side of this is like so much potential for you, because literally you're creating this huge potential energy. You are fueling something bigger for yourself. You are playing the long game rather than the short game. Instead of working for short-term gain, for small wins, for things that are going to crumble, you are building an empire, something that is going to stand for years and years to come, because no one can shake your foundation when your roots go so deep into the ground. Those are those people that are remembered in history for so many years, because they have rooted themselves so deeply that no one can uproot them, right? So anyways, I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you again to everyone who watches my videos. Thank you to everyone on TikTok who supported me when I was there. Again, I'll still post a bit there, I think, but I think I've just missed YouTube a lot. I miss my family here, and I want to apologize too for those who watched my content here and were worried or wondering where I was. Like, it was a lot of things that I was going through at the time, and of course, you know, I'm relaying this video to you out of personal experience, so hopefully you can kind of see where I'm coming from, but I will explain that further in another video, and I just want to say thank you again for being here. So I wish you all the best.